there was a family tragedy when I was 14. I lost a brother. He was 18. It was a drinking and driving accident.
How old were you?
I was 14.
Oh,
so
God.
my dance teacher kind of stepped in for a minute and distracted me, if you will. And she wanted to get me out of Louisiana. And she is the reason I joined Miss Teen Louisiana. I didn't grow up doing pageants, but I was a dancer, so I was a performer.
But you didn't think you were going to be an actor or anything, or were you?
No, I had watched Saved by the Bell. Like literally, that was it. Like I didn't even know.
I don't know if you want to become an actor.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just was. It was not on my mind. But she just saw something in me, so she was the catalyst to the pageant. But when I went to Miss Teen Louisiana, I thought, and I happened to win. I thought that was it. I didn't know it went on to Miss Teen USA on NBC at the time and like a live telecast. So I just remember the night I won Miss Teen Louisiana, I was like, all right, well, that was fun. Did I get like a scholarship to like a college or like what's, and they were like, well, you're going to Miss Teen USA. And I was like, well, I don't even know what that is. So, and then they were like, what's your platform? I'm like, what's a platform? And they're like, what do you want to, speak out against or for? And then they decided, since, my brother died in the way he did, that drinking and driving would be my platform. And so then I went out and to talk to teenagers in high schools. And I was a teenager myself.
Oh my
I had to wear a crown and a sash that was like part of the contract. And I felt so uncomfortable.
Wait a minute. You're getting sent to these schools in the crown.
Yes.
And your outfit and talking about your brother.
And I'm supposed to be like an equal, right? And like have them hear me. Oh my gosh.
Why didn't some parent think about that and say, hey,
I know
you don't need to do this. That's ridiculous.
But it's no regrets, but I definitely in later years have gone, and I just remember I would just feel so uncomfortable. But it was a special experience. And I got an acting scholarship from winning Miss Teen USA.
Right. But going back, like, how does the family dynamic change? Were you raised by your mother and father? Like he was around?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when something tragic like this happens, it's got to affect a family profoundly.
Well, it was a distraction. It was.
What do you mean?
I mean, sorry. You were talking about the tragedy. I was
tragedy,
saying, my parents split up right away. I mean, it was pretty, it's a big part of the beginning of my life that will forever, affect me moving forward. But I have two amazing parents, and I also have another brother who's 8 years older than me, and now a niece. The family dynamic was certainly never the same, but we're all still great people who are just trying to figure it out.
Is this something that you think about, as the years go? Because I lost a sister, but
I didn't know that.
But this happened a couple years ago, and she was sick her whole life, and it was sort of expected. We just didn't know when, but she lived till she was like 14 or 15 years old. And, my dad was just like on another planet, and I just can't, it's hard to imagine. But when you're a 14-year-old girl, and you're not a little girl where you're not like, I sort of remember, you remember distinctly like the day it happened.
Yeah, I was I got a call basically, and they left to go to the scene, and then my neighbor called, so she came over, and we just didn't really know what the details were yet. And I remember Hocus Pocus was on. So I can never watch that movie again. But that was the movie that was on. That was the first day that, changed the rest of my life. But yeah, I remember a lot.
What was his name?
Brad.
And were you guys close?
He's 4 years older than me. So he was the brother that we were always coupled together. Like he was in charge of me. Both my parents worked full-time jobs. We spent the most time together, but definitely didn't have much in common. But the last year of his life, he just graduated high school, and I was going to his high school. And that last year, he'd be like, "Hey sis, you want to go to Popeyes?" So he started taking me to Popeyes and like spending more quality time. He like randomly bought this gift that was delivered. It's this like, God, I haven't thought about this in years. It's like wooden jewelry box with like a teddy bear on top. And it was so random. And
bought it for you?
Yeah. And it just like came in the mail, and he was like, "That's for you, sis." I have no idea the backstory, but it was, I just noticed there was a lot more bonding in that last year. And I'm not a religious person, and I really am not, but there was something there that last year but yeah, it was tragic. We were not obviously expecting this to happen. So, but looking back, I can piece together a really nice trajectory of like maybe what he subconsciously knew. I don't know.
Did people treat you differently in high school? Do you remember that?
So check this out.
Yeah.
The day he died, it was like early in the morning or like late at night. That day was my freshman orientation to high school. And my dance teacher brought me. I went knowing what had happened, obviously hadn't processed it yet, but it was important to my family that I knew. I was switching from Catholic school to public school, so there's a lot of people I didn't know. This was not like going to high school with people you grew up with. So they made me go to orientation, and I just remember feeling how odd that was. Wait, what was your question? You were like,
did people treat you differently?
So I think, leading up to it, I was like, I was always in the newspaper for like winning dance competitions, and I was a little nervous about. I dealt with some catty girl stuff like in middle school. So I was definitely nervous to start a new school. And I felt like there was an impression of that I'm like a bitch or whatever. But I think because that happened, I just felt like everyone felt sorry for me. And it kind of, it took the edge off with what I was worried about. But obviously, what a weird situation. And then, you win Miss Teen USA and you're in high school, and that can also cause like people to be like, ugh, God. But I don't know. They were just so supportive. I was 16 when I won Miss Teen Louisiana and 17 when I won Miss Teen USA. And the support that I got from that hometown was like, I'll never forget it.